So I've emptied this 75-gallon, kind of a mishmash tank that I had here on top of my Hillstream tank. I wanted to tell you about basically what happens when you put a fish tank on styrofoam. Okay, now I've always made sure to use this type of styrofoam, which you can buy at Home Depot or any hardware store, and this is Insulfoam. It does have pretty good insulation capability, but I also like it because of this foil sheeting that's really tough. It's really almost impervious to puncture. And as you know, if you put styrofoam under a fish tank, and if for some reason one corner of the fish tank punctures the foam, it could cause kind of a cascade effect where, you know, the tank becomes unlevel because one side of it sinks into the styrofoam. Thankfully that has not happened, but I want to show you the outline of where my 120-gallon tank was on this foam. As you can see, even though it didn't puncture the foam itself, it has left pretty good deep indentations, and that's one of the reasons why I like using foam along the edges, is to absorb any minor imperfections and almost level the tank. As you know, a glass aquarium has its weight distributed around the perimeter of the aquarium, right? That's why you can actually support a tank just by the edges, okay, or sometimes even just the ends, because the corners of the tank are really what need support. The problem is, and I'm sure you've heard people say that never put styrofoam under an aquarium, a glass aquarium, because it could cause it to leak, is when the inner portion of the foam, through compression over time, pushes up against the bottom of the aquarium. And what that does is it transfers the weight from the edges towards the bottom pane of the tank. And that can lead to catastrophic failure. That's why it's important, which this is a practice I've since changed since I set up this aquarium, to only put styrofoam on the perimeter of your tank, basically on the bottom frame, supporting the bottom frame. Also taking care that if a tank has a central frame underneath it, as you can see there's a little indentation here where a little bit of the foam was exerting some pressure on the central frame, central bottom frame of the aquarium. That can also lead to catastrophic failure. Thankfully I recognized that. I took the aquarium off and put it on the ground there just temporarily. So the way I've changed my aquarium foam practice, if you will, is I've started putting the foam underneath a layer of plywood or OSB, and I'll show you here in a second. Anyway, talking about foam, what I've started to do, and this is a stacked aquarium stand that I built. It has two 29-gallon aquariums and on top a 20 long. But what I've done here is I've put my foam sitting on the 2x4 all across the edges there where the aquarium sits, and then on top of that, to level it, I put some OSB, oriented strand board. So the aquarium still has the opportunity to true itself by sitting on something flat, but that layer is supported by foam. I've found this to create more stability, and I feel safer doing it. I may not really need to do it this way. I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but it just makes me feel safer that the tank can level itself without worrying about the foam pushing up underneath it.